crafty friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a Witchy process card. Here I'm cutting down the Neenah 80-pound Solar White cardstock. I'm cutting it down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. This is going to be our panel for the sentiment on the front of the card and the image. Next, I'm going to take a piece of black cardstock and I'm going to cut that down to A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is going to cover the entire front of our card so we can do some layering with it. I am using my Tonic and Tim Holtz trimmer and I love it. Now I'm going to cut down a piece of Smooth Mint Mirror cardstock by Tonic, and I'm going to cut it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, so it's just slightly smaller than the black piece and only slightly larger than the white piece. I just wanted it to peek out a bit. And I cut it down to A2 size, and then I just trimmed off the little excess that I needed to trim off instead of cutting it the same size, the right size at the same time. It worked easier this way. And see, there we go. We've got our 3 pieces. So now I'm going to take my piece of Neenah cardstock and I'm going to take the Simon Says stamp If the Hat Fits stamp set, and I'm going to put my paper into my mini MISTI, which is an amazing tool. And then I'm going to take the sentiment, "You say witch like it's a bad thing," and I'm going to put that up towards the top of the card front, and I'm going to kind of center it as best I can. Then I'm going to close the door of the MISTI to adhere it to the window, and then I'm going to dust down that with my Embossing Buddy so that we don't get any stray embossing powders. Then I'm going to ink up the stamp with my Versamark Embossing Ink, and I really want to ink it up well. Then I'm going to stamp it down, kind of smooth my fingers over it to get a good impression. Now I'm going to take it out of my MISTI and I'm going to sprinkle it with Ranger Black Sparkle Embossing Powder, which I love this. It's so pretty. And I don't get all of it at once, and then of course I spill it, but you know what, just finish doing this and then I'll fix it. And it looks really good, so I'm going to take my heat tool. I'm going to let it start heating up, and while I'm doing that, I'm just kind of brushing away little flakes that have gotten a little astray. Then I'm going to heat it and heat set it until it's nice and glossy and sparkly. This is just a gorgeous embossing powder. It's lovely. Take a look. And then, as if by magic, it's all cleaned up. Now I'm cleaning off the stamp so I can put it back onto the stamp set. And then I'm going to put our card front back into the MISTI, make sure it's lined up properly. And then I'm going to take the witch's hat that has the bow on it, and I'm going to place that right below our sentiment, which I try to line it up as best I can. I do have the grid, but I just do it this way. And then I make sure it's attached to the little window. I'm going to stamp it using Gina Amalgam black ink, and I want a really good impression, something really nice and dark. So I stamp that down first, and then it's good, but I want it a bit darker, so I'm going to ink the stamp up again, and I'm going to stamp it down a second time. And this time I'm really happy with how the stamp stamped out. Now I'm going to clean the stamp with my Hero Arts Ultra Clean Stamp Cleaner, just because I don't want the amalgam ink to stain my stamp. It's not a bad thing, I just didn't want it. I'm going to take that off and put it back into my stamp set. And then I'm going to take the card front out of the MISTI. And now we're going to get to coloring, and we're going to use Copics today. I'm really excited. I'm still learning, but I'm getting better. I'm going to start with C5, and I'm going to outline the brim and the top of the hat, and then once that's all outlined, I'm going to go back with small circular motions, and I'm going to fill in the areas of the hat that I want to be the lightest. I'm going to go up and around, just making sure I get the paper nice and saturated so that all the inks can blend together nicely. Next, I'm going to take C7, which is the darkest color. I'm going to put it where the darkest parts of the hat are going to be, so under the brim, and then wherever the hat folds and wherever it kind of meets the ribbon, there's going to be a line of darkness there. And I'm just making sure I'm getting this so I can, flick it out and blend it out a lot easier. Now I'm going to take the C6 marker, and with tiny flicking motions, I'm going to blend that darker color into our lighter C5 color, which I'm now going to go back with and just blend everything together to give it more of a seamless look. And I was really pleased with how this turned out. Next, we're going to do the bow, and we're going to use VO4, VO5, and VO9. I'm going to start with VO4, which is a really pretty light purple color, and I'm just going to, again, cover the entire bow using small circular motions where I can. And next, I'm going to go in with VO9. I'm going to, again, go where I think the darkest parts of the ribbon will be. So where it loops around, where it meets the knot, and of course where it's hanging down below the brim of the hat. Then I'm going to go in with VO5, which is more of a magenta-y purple. And I'm going to do small flicking motions, and I'm going to just kind of try to blend that in a bit with the VO4. And it works. It gives it a bit more of a red tone, but you know what? I'm still learning, but I'm glad with how it turned out. So I'm going back with VO4 and just blending everything together, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out, even though the colors didn't quite match up. But there you go. There is our card front. Now I'm going to take our card base, which is going to be an A2 top folding card base. Right now I'm just trying to pick which side I want to be the front and which side I want to be the back. There I chose. Now I'm going to take the Catherine Puller ink in Garden Party and the sentiment, if the hat fits, get the matching shoes and broom. And I'm going to just stamp that towards the top center of our card, because we need a little bit of green in this card. Don't you think? We've got purple and blackish, so I think we needed some green. Now I'm going to take the more fiddly sentiment, which is just Happy Halloween, and I'm going to try to line that up nice and straight on my acrylic block. It's a bit of a hard one to line up, surprisingly. Then I'm going to ink it up with my Gina Amalgam ink, and I'm going to stamp that right below the sentiment that I had stamped before. And see, I think that worked out really nicely. I'm going to clean that off and put it back onto the stamp set. Now I'm going to take the witch's hat with the spider, and I'm going to stamp that using the Lawn Fawn Manatee ink, which is one of my favorite inks. I love this color. It's just a gray, but it's gorgeous. I'm going to stamp that in the lower bottom right corner, just to kind of tie in the front of the card with the inside of the card. I love putting things on the insides of cards. It just makes it look so much nicer. So I'm going to clean it off, put it back into the stamp set, and we are done with that stamp set for the time being. Well, actually for the rest of the card. Anyway, I am going to take my 1/2 inch Scor Tape, and I'm going to take all of the panels, so the white one, the black one, this green one. I'm going to put the 1/2 inch Scor Tape around the perimeter of the back of all of these card panels. I know you can rip Scor Tape. I just prefer to cut it with a pair of scissors. It's a much cleaner cut. See, now they're all taped. Now I'm going to attach them to the card. I use a craft blade to take the backing off because I have very short nails. And we're going to take all that off. We're going to line this one up so it lines up perfectly with the card base. And then with Movie Magic, it's all going to be done. Ta-da! They're all attached. Now we're not done yet. Oh no. I'm going to take the Boolicious Sequin mix from Little Things from Lucy's Cards, and I'm going to add some to our card front. I love adding gems and pearls and sequins, and I've never used a mix like this before, but I think it's gorgeous. I love her stuff. She will be linked down below, so you definitely have to check her out. So I'm going to sprinkle them across, and there we go, looking good. And now we're going to take my Ranger Multimedia Matte, which is my favorite liquid glue, and we're going to glue everything down. And with Movie Magic, we're going to see that they all get done. Ta-da! All done, all glued down. That's it, guys. And before we go, I'm going to stamp the back of my card with my my handmade by stamp, which I get from Bossy Jossie. I will link her down below. I love her stamps. They're perfect. And I stamped it with the Amalgam ink. Cleaned it off, and there you go. Good back. And there you have it, folks. The final card. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and like, and I'll see you later. Bye!